We are back. I am your host, Dave, 10-year intellectual property attorney, dealing with everything as you see the shirts, patents, copyrights, trademarks, as well as trade secrets. And again, it was a few weeks before Shark Tank had gave us an episode or blessed us with an episode, but they are finally back. Season 16, episode 12, just finished. And again, welcome to the IP battles. Now, on IP battles, I kind of do a quick summary of each of the four pitches. We go in order. I kind of give you some of my thoughts on them. And then at the end, I like to answer the question of which pitch do I think is going to make the most money going forward? And then which pitch do I think is going to be around kind of long term? No, a lot of times those companies can be one of the same, but they don't necessarily have to be. You may have one company that has made the most money or is probably going to make the most money. And then you may have another company that is going to be around kind of long term. So I'm going to give you my thoughts at the end. I would like to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section. Some housekeeping items. Please hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm, as well as hit the subscribe button to be a part of the IP community. I would love to have you a part of the IP community. Let's get off into it. We're going to start with Kid Coffee. Let's hear a quick description of this business, and then we'll come back and I'll give you my thoughts.
Hey Sharks, my name is Ethan and I'm 8 years old.
And my name is David, aka Dad. We're from Alpharetta, Georgia, and my age isn't important.
What is important is we're here seeking $50,000 for 5% of my company.
Yeah. Sharks, every morning I wake up and have a hot, delicious cup of coffee. So Ethan really does like coffee. He's been stealing sips of mine since he was little.
No, Dad, I don't just like coffee. I love coffee.
Interestingly, though, no real coffee brand has ever been created specifically for kids.
Yeah, that's not fair. But don't worry, kids. Now there's Kid Coffee.
The world's first coffee for kids. Okay, I know what you're thinking. What parent is going to hand real coffee to a child?
This guy.
Fair enough, but don't worry, Sharks. Kid Coffee is, Ethan, tell him.
99.9% caffeine free.
That's less caffeine than a single ounce of milk chocolate. But that's not all. Kid Coffee is loaded with nutrition. It's made with organic water-processed decaffeinated coffee, which is rich in antioxidants. It has prebiotic fiber for healthy digestion, calcium for strong bones, and
so much more.
So much more. Kid Coffee is an experience for kids to enjoy with their parents for happier, healthier mornings.
So Sharks, who want to take a sip with me at the big kid table?
Man, you talking about a story. First of all, shouts out to the father on this one. He's definitely seems like he's been crushing it for a long time. And hey, he's kind of passing it down to the next generation, that being his son, who has a crazy story in and of himself. 2 broken legs. And hey, what kid doesn't like coffee? As opposed to just, obviously, just kind of sweeping that under the rug, they're doing something about it. I love the fact that Kid Coffee is a thing. I always talk about in the actual, the kind of the full breakdown or reaction video to those pictures. The 3 things that I look for is how simple is it, the effectiveness of the product, the market, and then the IP. It seems like, man, this is there. It's a simple product. Appears to be effective for kids, nutritional value. Again, the market, not only, I think, is it a market for it, but that market appears to be wide open. Then they're protecting the IP, at least the trademark Kid Coffee, they're protecting that. So kudos to them, shouts out to them. I'm very high on this company. I think this kind of stands to make a ton of money. Now, they did get a deal with Daniel, and I think Daniel is going to really help them out going forward long term with this thing. So, again, like I said, I'm really high on this one. Now, it'll be interesting on whether or not they're protecting the actual the powder, whether it's via a trade secret or some other means. They didn't really get off into that part of it on the show. But, again, I really like this business. I think the kid, he's the real deal. And to be honest with you, by the time he comes in high school, I can see this guy being a multi-millionaire and this Kid Coffee product being on a lot of shelves, as well as kind of being a household name. So those are some of my initial thoughts on this thing. Let's kind of move on here to Good Love Foods. Let's go to the business owner so she can give you a summary of what she has, and then come back to me and I'll kind of give you my thoughts.
Hi, Sharks. I'm Chanel DeYoung from Longmont, Colorado, and I'm here seeking $150,000 for 5% in my company. Growing up in my family, food was our love language. From my Filipino dad's famous lumpia to my American mom's iconic cheesecake. And me, I made it my personal mission to perfect my own biscuit recipe. But In a twist of fate, what happened when I became gluten-free? Sharks, let's spill the tea on gluten-free. Options still get a bad rap because honestly, they're just lacking that special something. Well, allow me to be your gluten-free guru because I have cracked the code. Introducing Good Love Foods, a game-changing line of frozen, ready-to-bake nostalgic faves that will blow your mind. Because we're not just good for gluten-free, we're unbelievably gluten-free. Sink into our fluffy buttermilk biscuits, indulge in our gooey cinnamon rolls, and after trying our flaky puff pastry, you'll be tempted to read the package again just to make sure it's actually GF. Good Love Foods is celiac safe, allergen friendly, and delicious enough for all. So, who wants to be my GFF, aka gluten-free friend, and risk it for this biscuit?
Now, this was an interesting one. It seems like it was a unanimous decision. Everybody loved the product. What baked goods, or what was it? Baked goods that are pretty much gluten-free. Seems like health conscious. A lot of people are going health conscious these days, and gluten-free product is always one of those products that will carry the day. Now, it seems like most of the other sharks were out just as a result of the whole logistical nightmare that it could be, as far as kind of being able to having to ship the product with ice, dry ice, things of that sort. It doesn't seem like she's in a ton of stores right now, and she's kind of really more so D2C, which is okay because you can still make a lot of money. I know I gave a reference on that actual reaction video that I had got some product from Cynthia Wong of Life Raft Treats, another Shark Tank product, and when they shipped it to me, it had dry ice. That ice cream was phenomenal, I might add. But again, it could be a challenge, especially as it relates to increasing the price as you're trying to kind of figure out the sweet spot. Seems like that kind of scared off all the other sharks, but for Lori. So it seems like she ultimately got a deal with Lori, which is a phenomenal thing. It's always good to see the sharks or to get the participants getting a deal, being recognized from their product. Seems like she definitely has some IP, at least a trademark on Good Love Foods. And it seems like it's a good product. Like I said, it was pretty much unanimous on all the sharks that it was a good product. Hopefully Lori can kind of help work out the logistical issues. And it's one thing if I knew about Lori just from watching Shark Tank as well as interviewing people on this channel who has done deals with Lori, she's going to go to bat for you. She's going to roll up her sleeves, her and her team. They're going to try to help you out as much as possible. So again, I think this young lady, she definitely got a good partner in Lori, and it'll be interesting to see kind of what comes out, how this thing play out in the long term. Let's kind of move on to the next pitch, the Happy Bird Watcher. Let's hear what the lady has to say about a summary of the business, and then I'll come back and give you my thoughts.
Hey Sharks, I'm Susan Vandergriff from Dunlap, Tennessee, and I'm here seeking $150,000 for a 10% stake in my company. Shh, listen. Sharks, did you hear that? Did you know that hearing birdsong every day can actually improve your mental health? Birdwatching isn't just a hobby, it's a happiness booster. But bringing birds to your backyard with a feeder, not as easy as it sounds. Those off-the-shelf mixes are packed with generic seeds that may not attract the birds that you're hoping to see. Bird species vary from place to place, and each have their own unique taste. What works for Barbara's birds in New York City isn't going to fly with my birds down in Tennessee because their favorite foods just aren't the same. And that's why I created Happy Bird Watcher, premium, all-natural birdseed blends tailored for the birds found in your area right now. You can simply go to our website and answer a few questions about your bird feeder type and the birds that you want to see. And we'll use bird sighting data for your zip code to curate a premium blend of seeds just for you. It is bespoke bird seed delivered to your door in eco-friendly, plastic-free packaging. So Sharks, who's ready to bring more birds to the yard and cash in on nature's happiness currency with Happy Bird Watcher?
Now look it. She unfortunately was the only person who did not get a deal, but I still like the product. I had Legit Kits, Mike O'Dell from Legit Kits on last week. We did an interview, and that interview should come out in about a month or so. But it's a quilting company. Again, another Shark Tank product. It's a quilting company, and it's really a niche of a niche product because quilting is already a niche product. But then it was like a specific type of quilting, which furthers that niche, but he's still doing over $1 million a year in profiting 6 figures. So just because you have a niche product or a niche product, that does not mean that you can't make money. Now, whether or not it's investable, or investors get involved in, and is it going to be the next 10, 20, $30 million company? Maybe not, but you can still make a ton of money on this one. And it seems like, hey, she's been making more and more money each year. 2021, 9,000, 22, 109,000, 23, 189,000. And as of last year, they were projected to do $360,000. So she is making money. I love the advice that Mark Cuban gave her as far as, okay, look, you have these bird seeds that you are essentially providing to people so that they can attract the desired birds at their home. And that's one business. But you also have this kind of this software that's people are putting these inputs to be able to kind of tell whether or not, what they need to do or what seeds they need to buy to get that desired outcome or that desired bird in their area. So you almost have 2 separate things going on that not only you can make money off of, but you can also protect, or at least from the app standpoint, whether it's a copyright, trade secret, or patent. So you need to start monetizing off of it. It seems like up until this point in time, she was only monetizing off of the bird seeds that she was selling to people. But Mark, I think he gave her phenomenal advice to say, hey, you need to start kind of monetizing off this kind of app, this software that you're allowing people to use at this point in time for free. So again, I do think that she will. I'm hoping that she capitalizes off of that, because I think if she does, she's going to make a lot more money. And again, even though she did not get a deal, I think her story is far from over. I think she's going to go on to have a pretty good company, a company that's going to be around for a while and that can make a ton of money. So with all that being said, let's go to the last pitch, Remento. Let's go to this gentleman's story and summary of his product or business, and then I'll come back to me and I'll give you my thoughts.
Hi, Sharks. My name is Charlie Green. I'm from Los Angeles, California, and I'm here seeking $300,000 for 5% equity in my company, Remento. Sharks, the stories of our parents and our grandparents keep our family history alive across generations. And yet far too often when we lose those people, we lose those stories too. Well, with Remento, we have built the easiest way ever created to keep those stories alive forever. Remento's life story books transform a parent or grandparent's memory of the past into a keepsake book for the future. But unlike anything you've ever seen, Remento books completely write themselves. See, every week, Remento sends your loved one a new storytelling prompt. And then without any apps to download or logins or passwords, they record their spoken answer. No writing required. Now, some of the storytelling prompts that they receive are handpicked by members of your family, like a photograph from their childhood or a question about their hometown growing up. Our first of its kind speech-to-story technology automatically transforms those recordings into written stories, compiles those stories into a keepsake book. Remento books contain a QR code printed inside that when you scan, link directly to the recording used to write that story. So Sharks, who's ready to make history and help families preserve memories and stories like never before?
Now, this one got interesting. It, man, like I said, I would pay to watch the full 40, 50-minute pitch of this gentleman. It seems like, hey, you got emotional to get Barbara crying, to get Daniel crying, to get Lori crying. Again, it definitely got emotional, so it'll be interesting to see what he said. Now, obviously, losing Pops 9/11, that's definitely going to be a tearjerker. And then Mom's being kind of going through stage 3 lung cancer, she's in remission. So kudos to Mom and shouts out to Mom for that. But this gentleman has definitely been through something. Now it seems like he has about 13 investors, 10 on the angel side, 3 institutional investors that they've given 30% of the company to. Hey, it must be nice to be a billionaire, because as Daniel and Mr. Wonderful was like, okay, I mean, I actually like the business of allowing families to kind of record something and that turn into a storybook. So it seemed like everybody kind of liked the business outside of maybe Barbara, but Daniel and Mr. Wonderful was at that 15 to 20% range, whereas Mark, he was like, okay, 30, 300,000, 10%. And Mark liked it so much, he even was like, hey, 10%, would you rather do 10% in advisories or 5% advisory, 5% in equity? And he's like, man, hey, look, man, that's cool. Let's do it. So it seems like Mark really liked the business, valued at $3 million. Seems like he has some other stuff going on that he's raised a ton of money for, at least $4 million for. So again, I don't know. I really like Remento, and I think it's definitely going to be around. Now, with all that being said, drum roll, please. The company that I think is probably going to make the most money and be around over the long term is Kid Coffee. Number one, you're targeting the kids, and kids always want to kind of feel like the adult. They want the coffee. and to be able to have something that the parents are going to give them to kind of satisfy their coffee appetite, but still have that nutritional value. I think that's going to be a game changer, man. And the fact that it seems like the market is untapped or doesn't have any kids coffee out there. Obviously you have coffee for adults, but nothing that's kind of directed towards kids. I think this is wide open, and Daniel and the business owners, the mom, the pops and the son, I think they can stand to make a lot of money and to be around for a long time, especially since it's nothing else out there that like it. So those are my thoughts on it. I do think Remento is like a 1B. I do think when you're targeting families and being able to kind of create these storybooks year after year after year in an easy way, then I think that's something that's going to kind of really pull on different families, particularly I think moms and moms and just kind of the women of the family, if I had to kind of give you my opinion on it. So I do like him as a 1B, and the fact that he got Mark Cuban on board, I think Mark Cuban is going to add a lot of value to the company. And so that's why I marked them, have them as 1B. But I just think Kid Coffee is going to be a game changer. And over the next 5-10 years, you're going to see that in all your major retail outlets. And people are going to be talking about that as like a multi-million-dollar brand. I'm not sure if it'll get to $1 billion brand, but I can see them doing easy 40, 50, $60 million a year in sales, especially kind of targeting towards kids. So those are my thoughts. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section. So please leave a comment, as well as hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Like I said, we're back, baby. We are back. Season 16, episode 12 is in the books. I'm looking forward for episode 13 coming out this upcoming week. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I'll see you later. Take care.